Imagine holding a button that could vaporize 1 billion lives in a single second. Just completely erase them from existence.
Oh, wow. That is bleak right out of the gate.
Right, but now imagine you're holding that button, but you are also just, a single mother trying to get your kid to school on a Tuesday morning.
It's such a wild contrast.
It really is. That absolute jarring collision of, like, cosmic terror and just mundane humanity is exactly what we are unpacking today for you.
Yeah, and it's a phenomenal juxtaposition. I mean, it forms the entire emotional bedrock of the Echoes of Boo universe.
And man, what a universe it is. If you're looking at the sources we've pulled together for this deep dive, the sheer scale is, well, it's staggering.
Oh, totally.
We are talking about a cosmos that spans multiple realities, fractured timelines, all of it. You've got the sweeping origin stories of Surya and Agni in the baseline Boo universe.
Right.
And then there's the tragic, really mind-bending origins of Durakti from the alternate Jinmaya reality, or, the utterly terrifying timeline of the Matrophage-Durakti saga that plays out in the Samsara universe.
Which is just nightmare fuel, honestly.
Oh, absolute nightmare fuel. And that's not even touching on the impending fallout of the Agni cult wars.
The world building is almost intimidating in its breadth,
Yeah.
You have these ancient philosophical concepts, karma, dharma, the cycle of rebirth, and they are woven directly into the fabric of interstellar physics and like multi-dimensional conflict.
It is breathtaking to map out. But okay, let's unpack this. Here is the pivot. We are not going to try and cover that entire map today.
No, we'd be here for a week.
Exactly. Trying to condense all those realities into one conversation would just be a chaotic wiki read, and, that's not what we do here. Instead, we are locking our focus exclusively onto one specific burning star system. We are diving entirely into the Agni Origins trilogy. So that's Rise of Asura, Rise of Sura, and Rise of Agni.
A very wise choice. And to set the stage for anyone listening, you have to understand that the Agni Origins universe operates entirely in shades of gray.
Entirely.
If you're looking for, a simple, comfortable story with pure shining heroes on one side and mustache-twirling villains on the other, you will not find it here.
Not even close. And I want to be really clear with you right up front. Our mission for this deep dive is not to dissect the dense lore step by step or, spoil the plot.
Right, no spoilers today.
Yeah, we are here to explore the crushing emotional weight, the visceral reality, and the heartbreaking choices that define this specific trilogy.
Because what's fascinating here is that every antagonist you encounter in these sources is the hero of their own tragic story.
Yes.
They are driven by motivations that are highly understandable and, frankly, just devastating when you really look at the causality behind their actions.
And to understand that causality, we really have to look at the galactic divide. We are dropping into an ancient 100,000-year conflict between two massive empires.
100,000 years. Let's let that sink in.
I know, it's incomprehensible. On one side, you have the Suras. They rule from this paradise world called Swarga, and they are beings of radiant power, incredibly advanced science, and calculated grace.
Right. Well, on the other side, you have the Asuras. They dominate from Tripura, which is this harsh, punishing planet orbiting a massive blue giant star.
A completely different vibe.
Completely. The Asuras are warriors of brutal, unyielding strength, forged by that extreme environment. But their society is also rigidly bound by an unshakable sense of honor and martial law.
And they have been slaughtering each other for 100 millennia. Stop and think about what that means for a civilization,
It becomes their entire identity.
Exactly. I kept thinking about it like a generational blood feud, where the original slight that started the fight has been completely forgotten, but the bleeding just continues out of sheer momentum.
Yeah, an entire economy, an entire culture built purely on the machinery of eternal war. And that cultural momentum is anchored by the overarching theme of dharma, or righteous duty.
Which is such a heavy burden.
It is. Both the Suras and the Asuras justify their endless, brutal slaughter in the name of protecting their people. They both genuinely believe they are the righteous ones preserving cosmic order.
Yeah.
There is this profound piece of wisdom from an ancient priest in our sources that perfectly captures the mechanics of this tragedy. The text says, war is not fought between good and evil. It is fought between people who believe they are right.
Oof. But wait, let me challenge that.
Go for it.
If both sides genuinely think they're the righteous heroes protecting their families, how does the cycle ever break? Because looking at the timeline, it seems like it doesn't break. It just inevitably escalates toward total annihilation.
Well, escalation is the only mathematical outcome of a 100,000-year stalemate, really. And the catalyst for the current catastrophic crisis in this trilogy is the ultimate escalation. It's an artifact called the Agni Astra.
The doomsday device.
Basically, yeah.
But the sources mention it was originally meant as a shield. How does a weapon capable of mass cosmic destruction start out as a shield? That feels fundamentally contradictory.
I know, it sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But think of the Agni Astra's original design like a controlled burn in a forest.
Okay.
It was constructed by ancient celestial beings to be a guardian force. Mechanically, it is a golden suit of armor that contains microscopic wormholes.
Microscopic wormholes in the armor itself?
Yes, exactly. And those wormholes were designed to absorb and redirect dangerous cosmic energy to protect borders. They were acting essentially as exhaust valves for the power of seven suns.
Wow.
But when you alter the design, when you intentionally close those protective exhaust valves, it becomes a bomb.
So instead of protecting a border, it was weaponized to commit absolute genocide.
Sadly.
Millions of lives erased, entire worlds reduced to cinders. And the incredible irony here is that the survivors hid this weapon of mass cosmic destruction on an unremarkable, forgotten little blue planet called Earth.
Yeah, Earth was chosen precisely because it is a backwater. It is the perfect blind spot in a galaxy obsessed with grand celestial power.
Right.
And that blind spot becomes the absolute obsession of the Azure Crown Prince, Indrajit.
Oh, man. Let's talk about Indrajit, because his psychological profile is just fascinating.
He's such a complex character.
He really is. He is essentially the greatest warrior his civilization has ever produced, and he spends 50,000 years, half the duration of the entire war, searching the galaxy for the Agni Astra.
Desperate to find the weapon to save his people from the Sura threat.
Exactly. 50,000 years of isolation interspersed with centuries of cryosleep. You have to ask what that kind of temporal distortion does to a mind.
Yeah, the psychological toll would be immense.
But his journey eventually leads him to a planet called Kritika. It's this harsh, tidally locked world bathed in perpetual twilight. And while he is there, living under an alias, the unimaginable happens.
He falls in love.
Yes. This hardened machine of war falls profoundly in love with the Kritikan princess, Nandini.
It's a beautiful, almost fairy tale contrast. You have this warrior who has known nothing but 100-millennia-old meat grinder of a war, and he finally finds warmth in a twilight world.
He finds a place where he belongs, right? And a love that anchors him.
He does. But, the universe of Agni Ordinance does not allow for fairy tales.
No, it certainly doesn't.
The circumstances surrounding their life on Kritika unravel violently. And in the devastating fallout, Indrajit loses Nandini.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
He loses her, and he loses their unborn child. The only anchor he ever found is completely shattered.
Here's where it gets really interesting for you listening. Think about what that does to you psychologically. If you were stripped of your capacity to love, what fills that void?
Right.
When you take away a man's future, you weaponize his grief. And it is terrifying when a villain is just a hero who has suffered too much.
And this is exactly where the tragedy of Indrajit truly solidifies. Because he is bound by ancient Asura laws that prevent him from taking his own life, his sorrow has nowhere to go.
It just ferments.
Exactly, it calcifies. He isn't a villain plotting for the sake of abstract evil. He's a completely broken man who decides to seek out the Agni Astra to burn the Sura worlds, simply because the galaxy took everything he loved.
I have to push back on that again, though. Indrajit is supposedly bound by this unshakable Ashura honor. How does an honorable warrior justify using a planet killer?
Because the grief completely overrides the cultural programming. There is a haunting quote from Indrajit in the sources that strips away any illusion of standard villainy or, honorable warfare.
What does he say?
He says, "I am the abyss of Adharma. I am the wound that will not heal, the fire that will not die, the grief that has become rage because grief alone would have killed me."
Grief that has become rage because grief alone would have killed me. Man, that is chilling.
It gives you goosebumps.
It really does. And his desperate quest for vengeance brings him directly to Earth, which is the perfect transition to the ultimate biological lock on this ancient vault. Indrajit's arrival introduces us to Kanishka.
Yes, Kanishka.
And Kanishka is not a galactic warlord. She isn't a seasoned soldier forged in a 100,000-year conflict. She is a grieving single mother on Earth who suddenly discovers that her bloodline makes her the genetic key to the Agni Astra.
She is violently thrust to a cosmic war she knows absolutely nothing about.
It's so jarring.
The sheer ontological shock of realizing the universe is full of warring, godlike empires, and that she holds the key to their destruction. It's paralyzing.
But she doesn't face it entirely alone, thankfully. The sources highlight Renvir, her devoted childhood friend and ultimate protector.
Right, he's a crucial support system.
He really is. He is the anchor she desperately needs to navigate this terrifying new reality. Even with him by her side, though, the burden placed on Kanishka is just suffocating.
Because the Agni Astra isn't just a piece of technology you switch on and off,
Right.
To activate the golden armor, to wield the power of 7 suns and protect Earth from Indrajit's wrath, Kanishka faces an impossible ultimatum. She has to leave behind her son, Vayu.
Put yourself in her shoes. You are a mother, and the only way to ensure your child has a physical galaxy to grow up in is to walk away from him entirely.
It's an unthinkable choice.
She isn't just wearing armor. She's essentially strapped to the nose cone of a cosmic rocket, and the only way to steer it away from her son is to ride it into the dark.
And the moral crisis she faces once she possesses that power is profound. The sources show Kanishka grappling with the terrible symmetry of her situation.
Yeah.
If she uses this weapon to destroy Indrajit or the advancing Sura fleets, what makes her any different from the ancient beings who used it for genocide millennia ago?
Right. How do you wield the power to unmake a planet and still hold on to your basic humanity?
It is the ultimate paradox.
The power required to save the innocent is the exact same power that slaughters them. And it's not just Kanishka and Indrajit who are crushed by the systemic machinery of this universe.
No, not at all.
The Agni Origins trilogy is full of these incredibly complex relationships that just get ground into dust. We have to talk about Itijit and Devika.
Oh yes, their arc is arguably one of the most tragic examples of how systemic war destroys the individual.
Set that up for us.
Well, Aditijit is Indrajit's brother. He's an Asura scholar, a visionary who actually believed in peace. He studied the ancient texts, trying to find a philosophical bridge between the empires. And Devika is a fierce, brilliant Sura princess.
Let's just linger on that for a second. How does an Asura scholar and a Sura princess even cross paths, let alone fall in love?
I know, it defies all logic of their world.
The mechanics of that relationship threaten the entire 80,000-year status quo.
It threatens the core propaganda of both empires. If an Asura and Asura can find common ground, if they can actually love one another, then the last 100,000 years of slaughter have been entirely unjustified.
Exactly.
The societal structure simply cannot allow that love to exist because it dismantles the lie that the war is necessary.
And the universe crushes them for it. When tragedy inevitably strikes their relationship, the fallout is catastrophic. But what's fascinating is how Devika reacts compared to Indrajit.
Devika is shattered, and much like Indrajit, her grief transforms her. The brilliant Sura princess becomes a monster of vengeance.
It's so dark.
She commits unspeakable atrocities in the name of her broken heart. It shows us that grief is the great equalizer in this cosmos. It doesn't care if you are from the paradise of Swarga or the punishing gravity of Tripura.
So what does this all mean? It just highlights how this universe absolutely refuses to let anyone keep their hands clean.
Everyone is compromised.
The tragedy is systemic. Take King Jitendra of the Suras. He claims to be the great protector of Dharma, the righteous, enlightened ruler.
Right.
But the sources show him constantly making choices born of profound fear and political hubris. Choices that actually plunge the galaxy deeper into darkness and push his own daughter, Devika, over the edge.
It forces us to examine the nature of leadership in a perpetual war. When the survival of your species is constantly on the line, morality becomes a luxury that even kings cannot afford.
Okay, but to truly grasp the ultimate terror hanging over all these kings and scholars and warriors, we have to make a very crucial distinction for you listening.
Yes, this is so important.
We spent a lot of time talking about the Agni Astra, the golden technological weapon of mass destruction that channels the energy of the suns. But then there's Agni.
This is a strict boundary in the lore. You absolutely must separate the suit from the entity.
Right.
There's the celestial technology, and then there is the transformed state of Kanishka herself.
Exactly. And the sources don't bog us down with the exact biological mechanics of how Kanishka transcends the weapon. We don't need to get into lewds of how she transforms into Agni.
No, we don't.
What matters is the visceral, horrifying reality of what she becomes.
The visual descriptions from the texts are just majestic and terrifying. When Kanishka becomes Agni, she hovers in the air with obsidian skin. Blue fire burns quietly along the cracks of her flesh,
It's such a striking image.
and her eyes are described as two red, unblinking, dying suns.
Think about the sensory details there. The fire she commands in this state isn't the golden, roaring, explosive heat of the Agni Astra.
No, it's totally different.
It's cold. It burns with the absolute void between the stars. It consumes everything in complete, suffocating silence.
Try to imagine the psychological horror that inflicts on the galaxy. You have the Suras and Asuras, these empires that have fought for 100,000 years using advanced technology, plasma, celestial physics.
And then boom.
Suddenly, they are faced with a living, breathing God force that operates on entirely different physical laws. When she assumes this form, the entire galaxy recoils. She is no longer a human woman wearing a suit of armor. She becomes a primordial force of creation and destruction.
The very essence of the universe unleashed. And the terrifying irony is staring these ancient emperors right in the face.
Oh, absolutely.
You have a grieving human mother from a backwater planet, someone who literally just wanted to make breakfast for her son and raise him in peace, and she suddenly becomes the ultimate arbiter of cosmic judgment.
Her mere existence invalidates their century-spanning politics. When a being of pure, silent, primordial judgment arrives, all the justifications for war, all the arguments over dharma and honor, suddenly mean absolutely nothing.
They are completely obsolete. And, this deep dive really just scratches the surface of the intense emotional stakes driving this story.
Barely scratching it, honestly.
The Agni Origins trilogy is so much more than space battles and alien politics. It's a profound exploration of the incredibly heavy price of survival.
It really is.
It shows us how grief, if left to fester in the dark, becomes a purely destructive force that can consume entire star systems. And it forces us to look at the soul-crushing, impossible choices required to protect the ones we love.
It leaves you wrestling with a profound dilemma that applies far beyond the realm of science fiction, really.
Where's that?
Well, if the only way to achieve peace is by wielding a power capable of unmaking the universe, are you actually preserving existence or simply holding it hostage?
Oh, wow. That is the question that echoes long after you put the sources down.
It sticks with you.
It really does, and it makes you wonder, if Earth was chosen as the perfect, unremarkable vault for the Agni Astra, what other terrestrial anomalies, what other unexplainable mysteries right here on our own planet are actually ancient galactic scars we've simply forgotten how to recognize?
A fascinating and slightly terrifying thought.
It changes how you look at the world. You really have to dive into the Agni Origins trilogy to uncover these mysteries for yourself.
Highly recommend it.
Experience these heartbreaking arcs, feel the terrifying weight of these choices, and witness the visceral reality of this universe. Because once you see the silent, cold fire burning behind the quiet stars, you will never look at the night sky the same way again.